Here's the thing. Birds are real, and it's mean to say that they're not.
Here we are once again with yet another addition to our podcast.
The Birds Are Real podcast.
The Birds Are Real
if
podcast.
you weren't aware. It's been an odd period of time between when we last recorded and this time. But
has it? It all kind of blends together to me at this point.
Yeah, bird all day, every day.
Bird all day, every day. The weather's been pretty gloomy.
Yeah.
Like literally for the past week and a half.
Mm-hmm. It was 80 degrees and sunny 1 week ago, and since then it's just been cloudy and rainy.
Yep. So we actually didn't get out to bird for quite a bit. Not saying that you shouldn't bird when it's gloomy and cloudy. You can, and we probably should, but it's hard to get motivated to get out of bed it's gloomy and cloudy, you know?
Yeah, it was gloomy, cloudy. Weather was strange. I may or may not have had some calcified stones rattling around in my kidneys. Hard to say. But we did end up actually going out today. Impromptu, kind of spur-of-the-moment thing. If you follow our Instagram, you're listening to this a couple days after this happened. So you might remember Rochelle posting about us going out in search of loons. 61 loons, to be exact.
Yeah, a reputable source posted in the Discord. 61 specifically common loons cited by the Navy Yard in Philadelphia. And yeah, we were just planning on recording later in the day. No plans to go out birding, but we all love common loons. And so we got together really quick and we made our way out there.
Yeah, but this was unfortunately about 3 hours after it was posted in the Discord. But we did go, and we had not been to the Navy Yard before to bird. This was a place that's commonly posted about in the Discord. We just had never really made our way out there.
We knew it existed, and on eBird it says Navy Yard, restricted access.
Yeah.
And when it says Navy Yard, restricted access, I'm thinking there's armed guards, gates, you're not supposed to be there, right?
Exactly.
Our informant, if you want to call him that, from Discord. I think he works in the Navy Yard.
I think so.
And then he just has eyes on the Delaware River with binoculars and or a scope at all times. So he's able to, he posts a lot,
he does.
Because birds travel along bodies of water a lot of the time. And you see some cool stuff around the Delaware River.
Especially now, migration's really picking up.
Spring migration, yep.
Yeah, there's going to be, there was a lot, even throughout the winter, good amount at the Navy Yard. There's going to be even more now, I think. But we went out there.
For common loons.
And we got there, we parked, and it turns out it's not actually this scary military complex. It's actually just a nice little river trail. You can park, it's open to the public.
It is near I'm sure some government or some military facility.
Yeah,
but
there's battleships in the water.
But yeah, it's pretty well marked where you can and can't go. And the place you can go is well maintained. Yeah. There's a lot of people there.
Really, everyone was fishing.
A
lot of fishers. But we got there, saw a bunch of ruddy ducks real close up, which was nice because they don't let you get very close at Hines, those ruddy ducks.
They're really not close to the shore at Hines. Yeah. Pretty far away into the deep water. Mm-hmm. But the water at the Navy Yard is just deep everywhere. So they get pretty close to the edge.
To the edge. Yeah, it's not really the shore, I guess. It's just kind of the edge.
Saw a lot of cormorants as well.
So many cormorants.
I haven't seen that density of cormorants ever, I don't think.
I know.
There's a ton.
Normally, so there's the classic sort of, there are posts sticking out of the water and each post has one cormorant on it. That's pretty normal. Mm-hmm. But normally when you see a cormorant flying, at least when I see a cormorant flying, I just see one or maybe two at a time.
Yeah.
There were 40 in a flock flying together like geese. It was kind of shocking.
Yeah, they were pretty far away, so we got out our long lenses and we were taking a look. I was expecting to see some ducks because they tend to fly in flocks and they're far away. But yeah, they were some double-crested cormorants, and we definitely don't see them in that large of a number. Interesting.
It was very interesting. And the weather was a little weird. It was a little foggy, and it started raining a little bit.
Yeah.
So that could affect, in fact, our Discord informant suspects that that's why there were so many common loons today, 61 to be exact.
Because it is strange. It's April, and there's common loons in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah, so the weather definitely played a part. But yeah, we did not end up seeing any common loons, unfortunately. No. We were only there for a short amount of time. It started raining.
Yeah.
So
we kept thinking maybe it would stop raining, and then it just picked up and picked up and picked up. So we booked it back to our car. But right before we got to our car, we had 2 special encounters. First one was a couple ruby-crowned kinglets in a tree.
Mm-hmm. Always nice to see those guys.
Yeah. Amazing spot by Quiche because it was like raining. And they're really hard to find. He's just like, oh look, ruby crown kinglets.
I saw just a flash of red. Their little ruby crowns just caught my eye. And then Sam spotted a different bird, a lifer that we figured out for us. The hermit thrush.
The hermit thrush, possibly a veery, but most likely a hermit thrush.
Yeah, we were looking at the field guide. We were deciding between a veery and a hermit thrush, but the veery has a more uniform reddish color on its wings and its tail, and the hermit thrush is more just a reddish tail and
more brown on the
wings, which is more similar to what we saw.
Yeah, which is what we saw. So we went with the hermit thrush, and every single time we go out birding at John Hines and we have Merlin on, it thinks that it hears a hermit thrush. So maybe that's true. Who knows?
Yeah, because we haven't seen it before. We know what it looks like just from it popping up, and we know what birds are generally in the area.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool to finally see one.
Yeah. So,
and now we know that there's just a cool place that we can go to see more seabirds, sea ducks.
Exactly. Yeah. Somewhere where I think, this migration season, but then certainly also next fall, next winter, when the seabirds are really going, that'll be a nice place to go.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for next episode's field notes because we're seeing a lot of people spotting different warblers, spring migration, full force now. So
yeah, and we're hoping to do kind of something a little special at John Hines next weekend.
Oh yeah,
is that next weekend?
It is next weekend. There's a creek called Darby Creek that flows on one side of John Hines. That's where we see the kingfishers all the time.
Yeah, the kingfishers there all the time.
And there's a cleanup initiative, volunteer led.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sam and I are going to go. We're going to get dressed in some waders and go into the creek.
Walk through, clean up, because there's a lot of trash.
There's a lot of trash.
Yeah. But not when we're done with it.
No, we're gonna clean it up real nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just bottles and stuff that I'm sure get carried from upstream.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of fishing line and stuff in there, so hopefully we can clean it up pretty nice. And we haven't done this before, but it seems like they do this every year and it's pretty successful. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice thing to do and hopefully see some cool birds along the way.
Yeah, for sure. At least make it a nicer place for them to be.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the hoot topics here. So we have a couple from Ethan today.
Thank you, Ethan. Shout out, Ethan.
Shout out, Ethan. Huge fan. What bird do you think resembles you most looks-wise?
This will be especially enlightening for those of you who have not actually seen us before.
Yeah, because we don't post face on our main accounts.
So you can put a face to the voice, although it will be the face of a bird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, with a question like this, there's always the answers that I would like it to be, and then the answers that are actually correct,
I feel that 100%.
So, for instance, my little avatar on the Birds Are Real cover art is the Steller's jay. Very cool looking bird. Nice gradient. I love gradients. I would love to look like a Steller's jay. I do not. I would love to look like something like a bufflehead, maybe, or a hooded merganser. Cool looking birds. I do not. I would love to look like a roseate spoonbill, something very interesting,
very
unlike
pink.
Anyone else. I do not. I look very much like a lot of other people. I think what I have to go with is the greater prairie chicken.
Nice.
I do think I look a lot like a greater prairie chicken, just in the fact that I'm kind of tall compared to other things in my species, but I'm also pretty round compared to other things in my species, so, works out a little bit.
Hey, nothing wrong with being a greater prairie chicken. Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
Honestly, these things look pretty cool. They're like similar to the grouse. They have those esophageal sacs that are pretty colorful.
I don't know if I would have one of that. I'd be like an out of season, like kind of.
All right, so we're specifying you're an out of season greater prairie chicken.
Yeah. Yep.
Word. See, here's the thing about choosing a bird that looks like you. We don't look like birds.
We don't look like birds.
That's
we do
the
look like people.
That's the tough part about this. So me, I have a beard. I have long hair. I'm kind of slender. I don't like using the word slender because it reminds me of Slender Man. Remember Slender Man?
Yeah, that's a scary guy.
That thing's scary. Anyway, so I don't know. Birds don't necessarily have beards. Maybe some do.
Yeah.
First thing that came to mind, maybe just like a little blue heron.
That's a nice guy.
Or even like I was thinking something heron-y because those guys are kind of slender.
Mm-hmm.
They have some tufts of hair on their head and their neck. So I was thinking something heron-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't sold on it. What do you think? I think that's where I'm going to land.
It's good. I think if we want to go heron-y and we want to go iconic wispy hair, black crowned night heron is pretty good. Same color hair as you.
Black crowned night heron, true. I do have a black crown.
Yeah, it's kind of got like a ponytail going too. So.
That's so fair. And those guys are pretty small too. That's a good shout. Yeah. I just don't have the red eye to match.
No, but you know.
I could wear some contacts.
We all have things we can aim for.
Yeah, for those of you that do know what we look like, let us know if
we're wrong. What we look like. Maybe we'll post an Instagram story. You can tell us what kind of bird you think we look like.
Also, let us know what bird you think you look like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of birds out there.
There's so many birds. More birds than people, some say.
There's 11,000 species of birds.
Yeah.
I think there's only one species of human.
Yeah, it's just Homo sapiens.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan, thanks for the great question there. Didn't really think about that before.
I know, yeah. Really interesting question. And yeah, you know, sometimes you have to accept your lot in life. Sometimes you're a greater prairie chicken, but sometimes you're a black-crowned night heron. So it can go either way. And
dope. Ethan had another question for us.
Yes. This question seems specifically tailored towards one of us in particular, but we can both answer.
That person is not me.
Yep. This is not about birds at all, but it is about one of my other special interests, and that's the New York Yankees, baby. Best baseball team in the world, greatest sports franchise in North American sports history, 27 world championships, and they have the best hitter of the 21st century in Mr. Aaron Judge, number 99, 6'7", big slugger, has the record for home runs in a season if you don't count people who used steroids, with 62. And the question here is, do you think he's going to get 70? I do. Not, I don't. That's so many home runs. I think maybe he'll get 65 if we're lucky, but 70 seems like too much.
I didn't expect you to go off like that. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah. That was no edits, by the way. I didn't even take out any ums or pauses.
I was going to say, you didn't breathe during that whole sentence. That was elite. This man loves Aaron Judge.
He's okay.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, I don't know. 70's a big number, man. If maybe if he uses those torpedo bats, he'll get there, but...
He's not using the torpedo bats yet, though. So, room for improvement, I guess.
Cool. So, Thanks, Ethan, for those hoot topics.
Yep. I hope you all stayed on for our very brief sports talk. I promise we're going back to birds right now.
Right now.
Now.
Before we get back to the birds, let me just grovel real quick, maybe even beg.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope I don't have to do this at the end of every hoot topics, but we are running a little bit low. Yeah, Ethan had a great hoot topic, but it can be something as silly as what bird do you look like, right?
Exactly.
We're like halfway through season 2 and no one's asked us what bird we look like. Yeah, there's a lot of options. So
many options.
Send us some hoot topics, anything you're thinking about.
We want to hear from all of you. It seems like you don't believe us. I'm trying to be as sincere as possible. I'm trying to incorporate sincerity into my life. I know my voice sounds sarcastic all the time. I don't know how to change my voice. So I'm just telling you, and you must believe me. I am sincere. We want to hear from you.
We don't want you to feel bad though. Like we're not going the other way. Like we don't want to guilt you into doing anything.
No,
you don't want
certainly
to do.
Not. But like, if you wanted to, that would be great. So we've done quite a bit of traveling for this podcast. Not literally, but like theater of the mind. We've gone all over the world with our main topics.
Mm-hmm.
For the flightless bird episode, we went to New Zealand and South America, Africa, all the little islands. In the corvid episode, we ended up in London for a little bit.
In the past, even.
In the past, yeah, exactly. Even in the last few episodes, we've been to Egypt to learn about Osiris and Australia to tour some nests. Like, we've been to a lot of different places. Mm-hmm. And luckily for you listeners, we do cut out all of the travel time from our episodes, right? It's like Indiana Jones. We go from point A to point B very quickly. But if we kept all that in, each episode would be like 20 hours long, and it would mostly consist of me trying to make myself as small as possible while squeezing into the middle seat of an airplane and sitting there silently, right? This is, however, one story from my fictional travels that I do feel compelled to share.
All right, let's hear it.
You remember when we went to Mauritius to look for the dodos?
I do remember that.
Okay. If you recall, I left from Florida, where we were learning about the cassowary that mauled that guy to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of asking for it, but yeah.
Exactly, he was. So that happened, modern times. But to get to the dodo, I had to go through a rift in space-time to go back to when they were alive, around like 1600 or so. The space-time rift did bring me back in time, but it kept me in Florida. So I had to go across the ocean to get to Mauritius,
Sure.
right? Pretty long trek, and I did that by stowing away on a boat. Because there's no planes in 1600, Yeah. Get on a boat.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. It was not fun. And not just because I don't really enjoy boats and because I was sitting in a barrel the whole time. But we got attacked. This boat got attacked.
Oh.
Yeah.
By?
Well, we had just gone through the Caribbean Sea, got out to the Atlantic Ocean when the boat lurched to a stop. Everyone on deck was like shouting and running around. I didn't see any of it. I was sitting in a barrel. But it seemed like we had been boarded from some other ships.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was thinking you got attacked by like a kraken or something.
No. Other people here. So I'm just sitting in this barrel, but I could hear above me this stomp, stomp, stomp on the deck. And then this voice kept going, "Where's me captain?" followed by a gunshot and a splash. So I've got a decision to make right now. Do I stay in the barrel and try to hide? Do I go see what's going on? Like, I don't know. What would you do?
Well, it sounds like this is the opening first episode of One Piece.
Oh, I've never seen one.
Yeah,
Piece.
the protagonist in a barrel seems like he can take care of himself. So I feel like you should get out of the barrel and just handle business.
Okay. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. I think my first instinct was to hide, but then I thought, well, if they find me hiding, I'm toast for sure. Maybe I can go up and like pretend I'm one of them. Going back and forth in my head, I was weighing these pros and cons, and I took way too long, and I just found myself being dumped out of the barrel, right? I opened my eyes, I'm out of the barrel, I'm on the deck, and there's tons of these hideous grinning faces at me. They're missing teeth, they got gold teeth, eye patches, there's pirates, right?
Wow.
10 pistols aimed right at my head. Then I hear again this stomp, stomp, stomp behind me. I turn around and I see this man, scruffy beard, tall black hat, missing leg, and with a wooden crutch to use. He comes up to me and he says again, "Where's me captain?" Now, you know me, I'm a pretty calm guy.
Yeah,
right?
super calm.
I was voted most laid back Fitch High School class of 2015. You know what I'm saying? But even my heart started beating a little faster at that point. I didn't know what to say, so I just decided honesty, right? I said, "Look, man, I'm pretty sure I'm the only stowaway on this ship. I didn't see any captain anywhere. I'm really just trying to look for some birds." And I held up my binoculars just to show.
Oh, you had your binoculars on.
I had my binoculars on me.
Okay, that's a good alibi.
Exactly. I'm just looking for some birds. The man and the crew, they all fell silent. They're staring at these binoculars like I was doing a magic trick or something, right? All they have are those little telescopes, you shoot them out. Not the most efficient things. You can only look with one eye. Got no depth perception. So they're impressed by these binoculars. I passed them around, let them kind of use them, right? So the man with the scruffy beard and the wooden leg looks through them, looks around, turns back to me, and lets out a cheer. The whole crew is cheering. They were looking for a bird as well.
Oh.
Yeah. His captain was actually a bird named Captain Flint, because this was the famous Long John Silver of the book Treasure Island.
Oh.
Yeah. If you've ever read Treasure Island, you know that everything, all the descriptions and time frames and everything I've said are completely accurate, so don't fact check or anything. It's Totally.
I don't know, the guy's name
tracked.
was Long John Silver.
Long John Silver. He was the leader of the pirates in Treasure Island.
I don't think I ever read Treasure Island. The captain was I'm assuming a parrot, but a bird?
Well, the captain was Long John Silver, and his bird was named Captain Flint.
Oh, the bird was named Captain Flint.
Yeah.
Got you.
So, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. What kind of bird do you think Captain Flint was?
Some sort of parrot.
Some sort of parrot, right? That's what you'd think, right? So way back in season 1, we got this email from longtime listener Evan. Had a great number of topic suggestions. One of them that we didn't get to was the question, did pirates actually keep parrots as pets? And so I sat there facing Long John Silver and I thought, wow, that answers that question, right? But then I thought about it a little bit more later on and I realized that Long John Silver and his parrot, Captain Flint, are fictional characters. And this, of course, did not actually happen to me. So the question remains, and I need to dive a little bit further into it. Because parrots and pirates are kind of staples of fiction, right? But was that just made up? I have no idea. But they really are kind of all over fiction. Can you think of any other like fictional parrots that were hanging out with pirates?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't consumed too much pirate media outside of like One Piece, and I don't think there was even a pirate or a. Actually, no, there's bird characters, but I've been off of the One Piece for a little bit. I don't remember if there's specifically a parrot guy, but
I mean, like Pirates of the Caribbean is pretty popular.
right. Was there a parrot in there?
Yeah, the famous there's
Captain Jack Sparrow.
the monkey with Captain Barbossa is the famous one, but there was one of the pirates had his tongue cut out. He couldn't talk. His name was Cotton, I believe, and he had a parrot that would talk for him.
Oh, cool. Kind of a niche reference here. Do you know the Sly Cooper games from the PlayStation?
Oh, I remember way back in the day.
Yeah, and Sly Cooper 2 for the PlayStation 2. One of the final member of the Claw Gang was Arpeggio.
Oh.
And his whole thing was about being on... Well, he was a parrot, and he had like a pirate ship in the sky.
Nice.
Very smart guy. We thwarted him, obviously.
Of course. Got it.
But yeah, that was a random parrot guy that came into mind.
Yeah. Avatar: The Last Airbender in season 1, there were those pirates that like captured Aang and the water scroll, all that stuff. You remember them?
No.
Okay. Well, there are some pirates. Katara stole a water scroll from them. They like tried to capture Aang.
Like from the Fire Nation, or
no, they're just like random pirates.
Random people.
And then like Zuko showed up and tried to like barter with them and stuff.
Gotcha.
Well, anyway, there were pirates and they had like a parrotish thing. They fought with Momo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember these specific parrots.
Okay.
Mo was the goat though.
Yeah. We were just watching a baseball game. The Pittsburgh Pirates mascot is a parrot.
Yeah. He was looking a little worse for the weather when we were watching the rugby game.
That's a weird looking mascot. Let me tell you what.
Worse for wear.
Yeah.
I'm doing really bad at my like expressions today.
Okay.
We were going through the bird guide, and I was like, let me just riffle through this.
You just riffle through this real quick.
And they were like, or Sam and Rochelle were like, you mean rifle? I was like, I'm pretty sure it's riffle.
I mean, maybe it is riffle. I've only ever heard rifle.
Hey, let me know if you ever used the word riffle before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like riffle shuffle. That's what I'm thinking of. You know what a riffle shuffle is?
No.
So, okay, I need to be validated here. Someone email us and confirm they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so pirates and like sailors associated with parrots, that's definitely like a trope. If you see a pirate Halloween costume, there's probably a parrot on the shoulder or something. Mm-hmm. And it seems like that was popularized by Treasure Island, mostly with Long John Silver and his parrot Captain Flint. Also Robinson Crusoe, who was the shipwrecked sailor, and he had a pet parrot named Paul, which Poll. Probably why a lot of parrots are named Polly these days.
I was gonna say, Polly want a cracker? You think that's where that comes from?
I do think that's where that comes from. I don't know for sure, though, because I've never watched Robinson Crusoe. But is this all based in reality? Right, that's what I was trying to find out. Mm-hmm. I got the answer from multiple sources, but mainly from this article by Dan Nosowitz called The Surprising Truth About Pirates and Parrots. So, fair warning.
Surprising.
This might be surprising.
I'm prepared.
Okay, great. So the answer is, yeah, probably. Yeah. Surprising, right?
Nice.
Parrots weren't necessarily staples aboard every pirate ship, but pets in general were pretty common on ships, whether that be like pirate ships or just like normal sailor ships. The fancy European royals who would be sailing around would often have things like dogs or cats especially to help catch rats on board, but dogs were kind of like a status symbol at that time. But pirates, at least the successful ones who had lots of disposable income from, robbing ships, but couldn't necessarily walk into like London having killed people and robbed their ships and stolen from them, couldn't go buy a dog, they could get a little more adventurous with their pets. So pirates did, in fact, often sail around the Caribbean Sea and Central America, as the movie series might suggest. So there were a lot of exotic to them pets available, right? Most popular being parrots and monkeys.
Cool. I feel like parrots would make like a pretty good seafaring pet. I mean, I don't know the exact diet of parrots, but you can't bring a lot of perishables on your voyage, right? So I feel like there's a lot of dried like nuts and seeds and whatnot, and therefore you got a pretty stable food supply for your parrot.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's totally true. It was like normally just food that they had on board anyway, because that's stuff that, you need stuff that'll be non-perishable on a really long journey.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of that available. And parrots, especially compared to like mammals that need to eat a lot, they don't have to actually eat all that much comparatively. So you're not really using too much of your food on these parrots, but you do get the companionship of a pet.
Right, that's cool.
Yeah. And one thing about that, contrary to like what pirate movies and stories might lead you to believe, most days you're just kind of doing nothing at all. Like you're sitting around just on the ocean. It's so boring, right? Sailing takes so long, and like what are you going to do? If you got this bird on board that can talk to you, that's like something kind of interesting at least, right?
That's so true.
Yeah. So parrots can talk, obviously, like in a sense. Most of us have probably heard that. You maybe seen a video of like a parrot talking, right? Mostly they're just repeating sounds that they hear without necessarily understanding the meaning. Mimicking. Like we've talked about mimicking birds before. We talked about the European starling, the mockingbird, blue jays. I don't know if you knew this, Keish, but blue jays can actually mimic red-tailed hawks.
No, thanks for letting me know for the very first time.
I know. So, but what parrots do is pretty much the same thing, but they have a couple of special things that set them apart and allows them to sound like they're talking like people. Other birds can technically do this, like crows and ravens can kind of sound like people, not anywhere close to how parrots can.
Yeah. From what I've like just like things I've seen online, parrots, like people get like scared because a parrot's like screaming for help.
Yeah.
Because it really sounds like a person, and then the cops show up or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that's just my parrot.
It's just my parrot.
Yeah. It's like, geez.
So the reason they can do this is, first of all, they have this little structure at the bottom of their tracheas called the syrinx.
Syrinx.
Syrinx. I don't know how to pronounce it really, but syrinx sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I don't think we got one of those.
No, but what we have is the larynx, which is at the top of our trachea. But in this case, they kind of function similarly. Even though they're on opposite ends of the trachea, they sort of start the production of sound in pretty similar ways. So this then leads into the second thing that sets parrots apart from other birds, many other birds, which is their tongues. We've talked about some bird tongues before. Generally, they're kind of long and thin, sharp. They're used for things like siphoning nectar out of flowers, grabbing bugs out of small little holes, cracks in the trees, or wrapping around brains to prevent concussions, right? Parrots, though, they kind of have a thick, meaty tongue, similar to humans. So they can make a lot of the same sounds that we can.
Oh, by like manipulating their tongue.
Yeah, so I took this class in college. It was called Phonetics and Phonology, a linguistics class. And that's where I learned about just sounds that people make and how they become words and how you string them together. And the tongue plays such a huge part into that. Your throat and your tongue working together to just kind of manipulate the air is how we make all of the sounds, all of the words that we're saying. It's pretty interesting stuff. I really liked it. And a lot of what you do is you kind of have a chart of a human face kind of in profile, and you can kind of mark where the tongue has to go to make a certain sound. If you want to make a T sound, the tongue has to go to a certain part of the mouth in relation to the teeth and stuff, right? So I tried to see if they had a similar sort of diagram for parrots, but I couldn't find it. So if you are a linguistics student and you're having trouble coming up with an idea for a thesis project, consider mapping out the phonemes of a parrot.
That actually sounds very interesting.
I know. I kind of wish I studied linguistics more so I could map out parrot linguistics.
Yeah, I don't think I took a single linguistics class, but language, if you think about it, language is pretty cool. And it's just like, oh yeah, it's just like rules that everyone abides by and we can communicate with each other.
Yeah,
it's pretty
it's really amazing stuff. Yeah. So when a parrot talks, it isn't necessarily understanding the complex meaning of the words, but it's understanding the context in which these specific sounds are said most of the time, right?
That's what you think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we think, right? Hard to say for real. But like if you come home and you have a parrot, you come home every day and you say, hi, how's it going? When you enter a room, and then you probably give it some food or something, the parrot will probably also start saying, hi, how's it going? When you enter a room, because it understands that those sounds in that order normally means your human being is home to talk to you and probably give you some food, right? But the parrot is probably not actually asking you how you're doing. It probably doesn't care if your day was good or bad, right?
Sure, yeah.
That isn't to say that parrots aren't intelligent, because they're really intelligent.
I mean, if just to be able to mimic that and say it back is pretty high level works for a bird.
Mm-hmm. And like they can tell the difference between colors, they can count, they have really good memories. It's just that when they're speaking, they're mimicking rather than speaking and understanding a human language the way that we can.
Sure, yeah.
Which like is really fair, because human beings, some of them are multilingual, they can understand multiple human languages, but no person can actually speak and understand the complexities of the language of another species. Not fully, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I could speak English. If I were smarter, I could also speak Spanish, but I couldn't speak cat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So it's not even that, like, parrots are incapable. It's like no one's capable of understanding the vocalizations and the meanings of, like, other species.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we can understand that birds have distress calls or birds have mating calls and stuff like that, but...
Yeah, like once again, that's all kind of like contextual sounds, right? We understand that in this situation, a bird will make this sound, right? Mm-hmm. If we stick with cats, maybe I'm a weirdo freak, I'm exposing myself here, but I'm kind of assuming most pet owners do this, at least cat owners. Whenever a cat meows at me, I'll meow back, right? And try to like match the sound. If they make a sound, I match it.
Okay.
Right? Normally, I can tell the difference between a meow that means I'm hungry, which is most of the meows, is I'm hungry. Or, if it's a little growl, that's like I'm scared and I'm going to attack this thing. I can recognize that. Or sometimes they'll do a weird little chittering thing at the window if they see a squirrel or a bird. I can't mimic that. I would really like to, but like I understand in those contexts what those meows mean, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not hearing this sound going into my language center in my brain and thinking like, wow, that's a full sentence meaning, excuse me, sir, but it appears to be time to provide me with sustenance.
Right, yeah. I see what you're saying.
With all like the verbs conjugated correctly and everything,
Yeah.
I'm just making the sound that I associate with a specific situation.
Yeah. And that's like the only way we like perceive language, It's not like the only way to communicate is through like adjectives and verbs, right? I don't know.
Yeah, like there's a difference between like speaking a language, understanding the language, and just parroting back sounds.
Yes, 100%.
Right? So it is the same thing with parrots. They're really just repeating sounds based on context, right? They don't have an internal monologue going through their heads like in English or anything. They probably have a parrot internal monologue going. But the reason that parrots will make human sounds, whereas cats don't, in addition to the biological factors like the tongue, the trachea, things like that, parrots are also vocal and social learners, meaning that they learn to make sounds in order to fit in mostly.
Oh, with like other parrots.
With other parrots. So this is why like wild parrots normally don't speak in a human language. I think probably if you like a tourist, you go out on vacation and you see a parrot in the wild, you're probably going to try to get it to speak to you. It most likely will not do that.
Right.
Because it's just grown up around parrots, so it makes parrot sounds. But pet parrots do make human sounds because they yearn for social interaction. That's like an essential part of being a parrot, is you need to be social.
They're very social creatures, and if there's not other parrots around, it's just going to try to fit in one way or another.
Yep. So that's kind of the social learner thing, but they're also vocal learners, which is, as far as I could tell, again, I'm not a biologist, I don't know for sure, but This is kind of a specific trait of a select few animals. So most animals are born with an innate sense and understanding of what all of their species vocalizations mean. Like from the get-go, they just know what it means. But a select few animals, which includes humans and parrots, also whales, they have to learn what each sound means and how to use them. So we aren't born like with a full vocabulary and knowing what every sound means.
Sure.
Which is why we can speak so many different languages, right? Because it's all kind of contextual and social. We hear what the people around us are speaking. We understand what those words mean. But we aren't born with like English running through our heads.
Right.
And that's also why parrots are so good at mimicking, because they can kind of contextualize more sounds outside of just their species sounds. So when I say parrots, that's a word that's similar to like falcon or sparrow in that it's a broader category that includes lots of subspecies. Most of what I'm saying about parrots here is pretty applicable to all of them, like cockatoos, budgies, macaws, cockatiels, even the kakapo that we talked about, flightless bird, that's a parrot. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
in the context of pirates, though, there is one specific type that is generally accepted as like the parrot that they would have as pets. Any thoughts on which one?
Okay, I'm glad you paused to give me a chance to guess.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of like that. You were saying, like the Caribbean, maybe like South America, Central America is where they're getting these. I know the macaw, or I think many macaws, scarlet macaw in particular, native to the Amazon rainforest. I don't know if pirates are necessarily going down there. Maybe either a macaw or I'm not going to pronounce this right, the budgerigar.
Yeah, I just say budgie because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, a macaw or a budgie, that's my guess.
Yeah. Budgie's that little one. If you've been to like a pet store, you probably see a million of them in the cage. It's a really common pet.
Oh, gotcha. What's the difference between a budgie and a parakeet then?
A budgie's a type of parakeet, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Macaw then.
Macaw, that's a great guess. We are talking about macaws.
Nice.
Because, like we mentioned earlier, pirates are normally hanging out in the Atlantic Ocean generally, but especially over by the Caribbean, Central America, and that's where macaws are endemic. Things like cockatoo, cockatiels, even budgies, I think, are from like Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, you're right. Budgies are from Australia.
Yeah. So pirates aren't really going around there too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But also compared to other parrots in the area, I think there's like the gray parrot is one of them, I'm pretty sure. But macaws are big. They're really noticeable, super colorful. And if you're a pirate, you kind of want to flex with your bird a little bit, right?
Especially you were saying they're like status symbols, so
Exactly.
like you kind of want to flex, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if you're a pirate, what's the point if you're not going to show off a little bit, Yeah. Big hat, big earring, giant beard.
Gold tooth.
Gold tooth. Get a bird, a macaw on your shoulder,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Stanley Cup. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get a small little gray cup, or you go with one of the gigantic, like, 64-ounce, pink bedazzled Stanleys to show off.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're a pirate, if you're sailing the seven seas, like, you might as well go big.
You gotta go big.
You gotta.
Exactly. All right, to wrap up all of this, I have one very important question for you.
Okay.
Pretend you're a pirate, and you've got a pet macaw.
Mm-hmm.
What's your pirate name, and what is your parrot's name?
Ooh, this is, See, this would have been a great Hoot topic that someone could have sent us.
Exactly. This is the kind of thing we're looking for.
This is the kind of thing we're looking for. I'm trying to think of some piratey words.
Yeah.
Oh, here's some phonetic alliteration, but not actual alliteration.
Nice.
What about cantankerous quiche?
Cantankerous quiche. I think that is real alliteration. I feel like alliteration's always phonetic.
Oh, I thought it was like... Well, when you write it, it needs to be like the same letter, no?
I always went just based on sound.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool.
I didn't know that. Oh, and then the name of my parrot.
Name your macaw.
My
What color
macaw.
macaw too?
Oh, I gotta go with the scarlet macaw.
It's a classic.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful bird.
Really
I actually made a in 7th grade. I made a sculpture, I guess, of one. I made it out of clay,
Oh,
I guess.
nice.
And then I just bought like some like feathers from Michael's and made it.
Oh, that's
It's
sick.
pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Cool, yeah. My scarlet macaw would have to be named. Me and my macaw. We have a pretty jovial relationship.
Sure,
right? Like
as
we're
you
like,
should.
Yeah, it's a status symbol, but like he's more than that to me.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Right.
my scallywag, perhaps. The scarlet scallywag.
The Scarlet Scallywag.
Yeah.
All right. Cantankerous Quiche and the Scarlet Scallywag. That's sick. That's like a good album name, you know?
Yeah, if you see us on the Seven Seas, just watch out.
Yeah, watch out. I
Yeah,
think.
what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I want to honor a couple of iconic pirates, you know?
Okay.
Blackbeard is a classic pirate, really good pirate name. Also, for me, the goat pirate, Patchy the pirate from SpongeBob.
Oh, I forgot about him. You can't forget about him. Though.
Can't forget about Patchy. I think he might have had a parrot that was hanging out with
He
him.
did have a parrot. You're right. Oh my God, you're so right.
Yeah.
Oh, my SpongeBob knowledge has fallen off.
Yeah, we got.
It was like integral into the skits too.
Yeah. So I think I'd combine those. I'd go by Patchy Beard. I think it fits me pretty well.
Yeah, looking at you right now, it does kind of fit.
And for the parrot, I don't know. I might call it like Yoda or something, you know? Just so I could pretend like I was talking to Yoda. I might teach it to talk like Yoda.
You could teach it to talk like Yoda.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. What kind of parrot would it be?
Oh, I mean, it would be macaw also.
Or sorry, yeah, what kind of macaw?
I think being Yoda, there's like a blue-green one. I'd go with that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are also very stunning birds.
They are. I'd love to go see some parrots in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Do they ever go as far north as like Florida Keys or anything like that, or
No, but they'll go as far north as Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah. I'm sure one or two has made their way up to the Florida Keys, but there's not like a population there or anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for. I really like how you painted a whole story there, a whole scenario.
Yeah.
Went through time. You almost got
shot.
That's
I was
crazy.
almost done for.
It's also kind of funny how you stumbled upon the opening episode of One Piece.
I didn't realize
As
that
well.
was how it started.
I'm glad we finally got to Evan's suggestion.
Yeah.
I know he was waiting for this one.
Thank you, Evan. I'm sure I could have gone more in depth with it, but thought maybe you all deserved maybe a quicker episode this week.
Yeah, we've been giving you some heavy, longer episodes lately, so
Yeah. Nice little pirate episode this week.
love pirates.
Yeah.
All right, now we're moving on to everyone's favorite, the closing caw. I think we're tied right now. And then Rochelle's got the one as well. So 3-3-1.
3-3-1, I'm pretty sure.
Nice. All right. I will be receiving the call this time first.
Yep.
And then I'll give Sam his call.
All right. Ready to receive?
Ready to receive. All right. I'm thinking a small bird. It's small. It sounds pretty familiar, so I think we've heard it before. Somewhat regularly, so I think it's something we commonly see. Thinking American goldfinch?
Ooh, good guess, but no.
No. Okay.
No. Right family. This is actually a bird that very early on in my bird photography career, I took a picture of one, posted it on Instagram, and said, "Look at this goldfinch." And Salamander Ryan, a guest from season 1,
Yeah.
commented and said, "Hey, I think that's actually a yellow warbler." This was a yellow warbler.
Oh, it's a yellow warbler. Nice. Oh, I knew it sounded familiar. It's similar in color.
I know. I wanted to prep you for the upcking season.
You're
Warblers
so
are
right.
upon us.
Oh, and we'll see a lot of yellow warblers.
Yeah.
We definitely saw a lot last year.
Yeah, I think we'll start recognizing that sound out in the wild.
Gotcha. Yeah, this probably won't make the pod, but I was asking Sam. I was like, "Are we sure we haven't done this call? It sounds so familiar. I think it's this." But no, we have done the American goldfinch.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a bird call for Sam.
Interesting. Not the most gregarious call we have. Not the most melodic. What does that remind me of? I mean, in a way, it's kind of like the red-winged blackbirds that sort of make a singular sound like that. I mean, red-winged blackbirds will make a lot more, but they kind of have that one little, I don't know what you'd call that, tweet. I was trying to compare it to the yellow warbler because I thought you might have given me a warbler as well, but that didn't sound similar, so I don't think that's warbling. Still unclear on what warbling is. Maybe, I'm trying to think of the robin too. That almost sounds similar to the way a robin speaks. A robin calls. And a robin is a kind of thrush. A robin is not actually a robin. So maybe in keeping in line with you trying to make me look silly by giving me birds that we talked about on the episode, I'm going to guess hermit thrush.
It's not hermit thrush. It's the eastern kingbird.
Oh, the kingbird.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in a long time because I think the last time we saw it was in the summertime.
I think so. Yeah, but those should be coming back.
They should be coming back pretty soon. Not the most flashy bird ever.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Somewhat common when we in the summertime. Haven't thought about that bird in a while.
I haven't either. I kind of forgot about kingbirds.
Yeah.
Kingbirds and phoebes look a little similar, but they should be coming back soon.
Yeah, I think kingbirds are a type of flycatcher, so we'll see some other flycatchers too, like the great crested and whatnot. All right, so we both got it wrong. Both got it wrong this time around.
Nothing either way, but hopefully you were entertained at home or in a car or at work, wherever you are.
Yeah, stay tuned for hopefully pop-in field notes for next week.
Yeah.
Please send us some Who Topics
at
birdsarereal.pod@gmail.com. And you can also message us on Instagram, birdsarerealpod.
Yep. As always, we do appreciate you listening. Share it with someone if you feel like it. If you feel like keeping us all to yourself, that's fine. Totally understand. We're like a teddy bear in that way.
Yeah. We can stay nice and homey and have a respectable amount of followers or listeners, but or we could blow up, whatever.
Yeah, if you want us to blow up in like a good way, tell someone to listen to us.
Yeah.
It's like a pyramid scheme. You tell two people, they each tell two people. All of a sudden
we're making a lot of money and
no one else is making any.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's what we want out of this for sure. All right, well, see you later.
See ya. Birds are real. Pyramid scheme for life.